I had a backyard wrestling federation. We had characters, we had pyro. So much fun, but so dangerous. Do not do it.
Does your mom know you did this?
Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform designed to help you build your brand or business online. Whether that's starting out or scaling up your digital presence, Squarespace has got you covered. More on that later.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Break Room, a place where storytellers chat about life, love, and all that comes in between. This is an episode about love.
Wait, hold on. So wrestling is all that's in between?
Yeah, so we're jumping right in.
Wait, do we start? Wait, are we moving?
Yeah, we're moving because there's a lot to cover in a short amount of time.
Great.
And, just to give some context, we got Phil here. I'm Benson. This is Dan. Dan's been a longtime friend of Wong Fu. He's been on lunch break, but this is his first break room appearance.
I am excited. This is my first time doing this for a topic that I do love.
Yes. As you can tell, Dan is wearing a WWF
Which
jersey.
Wong Fu.
It's not for Wong Fu.
Actually, Wong Fu, that's a really good idea. You guys should definitely do this jersey.
First of all, why are we doing this episode?
Okay, so
Why are we
this
here?
episode is a long time coming, and it's coming just at the right moment of time because when you see this in a couple of days, it's going to be Wrestlemania. And Wrestlemania is the Super Bowl of pro wrestling.
Oh, that's amazing. Was there a big tournament of, real games and matches that happened?
Precisely.
That all led to this moment.
Oh,
So we're here to catch up, Phil, just to be prepared for Wrestlemania weekend.
No, okay, yes. So Benson is he's the in-house office wrestling fan. He always talks about it, and I know of it. I don't fully understand it. I grew up around it. Obviously, it's part of pop culture. Dan is also a huge fan, so we're like, okay, they're like, we should do an episode together. And I'm like, you know what? I have questions. I would like to be part of this episode too. So you guys are the super fans. I'm coming as the lay person.
Yeah.
We are here to teach Phil everything that he would want to know about pro wrestling. Whether it's WWE or pro wrestling is like a worldwide phenomenon.
Right.
There's like so many different countries and different cultures around it, and it's really big in Asia actually. So that's an interesting area to talk about.
Dan and I have had a lot of conversations about this in the past few months, and we've seen kind of the nerd culture around like anime and K-pop and how they started as kind of these
Fringe
fandoms, and now I would say that they're mainstream.
Okay. Wait, are you trying to make the argument that wrestling was a fringe fandom?
It was 100% a fringe fandom.
What are you talking about? They've been selling out arenas for decades.
Right.
In different ways. Yeah.
Right.
See,
Where's the
that's
best
what I'm
place
saying.
to
Like,
start?
this goes back so far because I remember even like in the 90s as like elementary school kid, I was watching it and even then it already had a lore, right?
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the snake guy.
Okay, Jake the Snake.
The chain guy.
Those are all of their names. There was a guy for everything.
The giant guy.
Okay.
Right? Hulk Hogan, obviously.
Okay.
Well, maybe, all right, so Benson, maybe just kick it off with what is pro wrestling, and then how did you get into it? And I'll talk about how I got into it.
Sure. Okay, so pro wrestling, I would say, is a
fake.
Ultimately a performance art.
There it is. Okay.
A performance art showcasing athletic ability in combat form.
So it's like Cirque du Soleil, but like combat.
Basically, it's a soap opera, but a really physical soap opera where every single week there's a new story that's playing out. Every single week there's a new episode, no matter what.
How do they fill up that much content and time?
Wrestling.
And then,
With wrestling.
But the moves, you can only do so many moves that.
So what they ultimately have, and what I've realized like watching a lot of these documentaries, is that it's a full machine. The same people that are at Hollywood that are writing all of these amazing stories for TV shows are writing storylines for all the wrestlers. Yeah. And then the wrestlers are there, they're acting it out, but you've got the added element of like it's live theater. And so a lot of it's like improv, it's dance.
I wanted to touch on something real quick that you brought up earlier about Cirque du Soleil, right? Where the historical aspect of it is actually pretty interesting that I kind of like researched more recently. Ooh. So pro wrestling has direct ties and lineages to the era of the circus and the carnival.
Okay.
In these carnivals, they would have exhibition fights.
Okay.
Right? So this is where this is all kind of coming from. Okay. Where from that era, it kind of split off into three main sections that I think probably make the most sense for today's.
Which direction led to this?
Phil, what does that mean? Where did you learn that?
Triple H.
Right. So like
Those are words. Those are the right words.
yeah. So around this time in like probably the 1800s, like around
Triple
there,
H's great-great-great-grandfather was born.
like single H.
Yes.
You know, there's boxing matches
Yeah.
and there's also like wrestling matches in what you see maybe in like the Olympics where it's like it's not scripted. They
Yeah,
want to
it's
see
real.
somebody fight and win.
Okay.
And then eventually that evolved into like, okay, everybody's hometown has their like champion fighter, right? And then obviously you don't want your champion fighter to lose, so then they start to incorporate scripted elements, the trash talking at this time, and then that's where it kind of split to where there's people kind of like fighting for real, for prize and whatnot, and then it starts to like delineate to people kind of fighting for the story element of like.
And these were like
Yeah.
traveling shows.
And these were traveling shows, so it's like, oh, this carnival versus this carnival.
Ah, see
kinda-
here we got
Right,
the biggest man from
So,
Cincinnati.
boxing became its own thing. It became a legitimized sport,
Sure.
competition. And then what's probably known as amateur wrestling became like the freestyle of high school collegiate wrestling and Olympic
Benson's an
wrestling,
actual
right?
wrestler too. I think it's important to make that note that
Yeah.
he's a wrestler that I feel like it's important to say because athletes would be like, oh,
Right,
that's
right.
not real wrestling, but you do understand the physicality and
Yes.
you still like the fakeness of it.
Yes.
I like it even after seeing how much training these people go through.
Yeah.
Like it's really, they're training their whole lives and putting their bodies into like really interesting, different, dangerous situations.
But at least to kind of like to wrap up my point, I would say that wrestling found me, or pro wrestling found me, in that way.
It's a religion.
It is.
a religion.
Yeah,
It is. I think it's pretty interesting because like kind of growing up in the 90s, I was like in elementary school, and I think at that time I was mostly influenced by like Hong Kong action movies, right?
Yeah.
So I was under the impression of the time that Asian martial arts are the real way of fighting.
Okay.
So I actually was on the train of wrestling's fake. It's all performative.
Yeah.
Like Jet Li, Jackie Chan. That's how you really fight.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to like think back. It's hard to remember because I was so young at the time. But I was brought to I think Belmont Park in San Diego, and
Okay.
they had like a live wrestling show kind of just going on. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like they're doing flips and stuff, and like
Yeah.
they're hitting each other, and it's like it's performative. And then somehow like me and my other brother, we just started watching, and we found out that Rey Mysterio is a wrestler from San Diego. Being from San Diego myself, he's
Okay.
a masked luchador,
Okay.
right? And he's like a smaller guy, so it's like, oh, he was very appealing to kids because he was smaller. Kids could see
Yeah,
like
yeah.
him, and he's like in a mask, so it's like very superhero.
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
throughout middle school, we got like obsessed with wrestling. We bought DVDs, we watched every week.
Did you try recreating some of it? Obviously.
We had a trampoline, so
That's
yes.
so dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no injuries thus far, but I'll throw it to Dan because he's got some crazy stories.
Honestly, I've got like the reverse situation of how I got into it and like my journey with wrestling, which is that wrestling didn't find me. I definitely found wrestling, and it was at a time when like I think that I was definitely very impressionable, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. And then like just all of the people around me. Cause it was like at the heyday of like Stone Cold,
Yeah.
The Rock. And so it was super, super pop culturally.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I do think that I was really, it was over the top. It was kind of violent. It was like really just interesting. And like at that age, like all of the hormones and things you're going through, you're like, oh, give me more of this thing.
Yeah.
But after that, I actually was like, ooh, maybe I should try wrestling myself. So I actually went from like watching wrestling to like, oh, I should try wrestling. And then when I did it, of course, I realized very soon, very different. But I did that my first 2 years of high school. And then also while I was doing that, I had a backyard wrestling federation that me and my friends started up where we were producing shows. We had people that came out of it. We had characters. We had pyro. It was a full thing.
I didn't know about the pyro. Can you talk about the pyro real
What
quick?
pyro did you do?
We bought like
Did you
fireworks.
light candles?
No, we bought like fireworks and we like let them off when we were coming out to do our entrances.
Got
But
it.
it was so
was your
much
biggest-
fun, but so dangerous.
What
Do
was
not do it. And I'm like surprised that I was even able
Does
to.
your mom know you did this?
Yeah, she allowed me to do it. But she obviously the parents,
She brought the Capri
She
Suns.
was
Yeah.
she had the camcorder.
parents should not have let us do this when we were younger. But again, luckily, knock on wood, everything was fine.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I learned a lot of good life lessons.
What was your biggest crowd?
We had like 10 people for one of the shows.
Nice.
We built our own ring. Our ring was like freaking legitimate. It was a really nice wrestling ring.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was
What
really
what
into
happened
it.
to
I
the
loved
ring?
it.
Where is it? Yeah.
It got torn down. There was like basically there was like some drama between there was like competing wrestling organizations. We had like rivalries with like other like wrestling backyard groups in our area. So we'll just say there was some like drama that happened.
Great. So thank you for sharing those personal stories. The common through line here was that you guys found it at impressionable periods of your life as preteens or adolescents, right? So I'm 40.
It's not too late.
It's not. In fact, you'll like it even better.
Okay, so I'm obviously like, exposed to pop culture. I was there for, I know Stone Cold 316, I know Triple H, I know all these guys, Undertaker, right? I just never was drawn, The Rock, I was just never drawn to like, I need to watch a match. I've seen clips. I completely, like, I think after The Rock, I completely didn't even know John Cena was like, a thing. And then there was another guy after that, Roman something.
Roman Reigns, yeah.
I've missed so many eras. Oh, okay, sorry. I do have a personal story of why. Maybe.
Yeah, you got it.
Maybe why I did grow an aversion to it. I do remember when I was a very little kid, like elementary school, and seeing, I think on the USA Network or something, or TNT when it was on there. There was a match where there was a cop guy, right? There's a cop.
Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man, okay? And then there was another crew called Public Enemy or something. They were wearing orange jumpsuits or something. Anyways, they took the handcuffs off the cop and used his own handcuffs on him and attached him to the ring while he was like, whatever. And then they took his billy club and broke his arms and his legs.
I was so good.
And then
that was before my time.
And then they brought out a stretcher and they took him out. And I was like, this is so horrible, gruesome, brutal, and I think I believed it at the time. And
Phil had the right morals. That's actually that's the way that you should see something like that. So I don't disagree with why I turned Phil off. Those are the right things to feel when you see stuff like that.
Yeah,
that you don't understand.
I mean, obviously, eventually, I learned that it was fake-ish, scripted, but still, like there were real elements to it. The blood was real, like the wrists are real, and I was just never drawn to the violence.
I can actually. So here's actually the big reason why that maybe like younger Phil now would have been really more into it, is that there was a conscious decision in like the 2000s that they're like, hey, this needs to be a more family friendly product if we want more people to watch it. They ultimately decided that, hey, going in that direction of the obviously like super like sexy women and like the over the top violence was not going to be a thing that everybody could get on board with. Ultimately, they did find a way to make it more broad appeal, which I think was a smart idea.
So that's a good point in that there's very key eras of wrestling that I think are very important that we can look back to now. Like the WWF era, probably known most popular as the Attitude Era, and that's where I think a lot of the violence and the kind of the anti-authority aspects of wrestling were very popular. And during that time, there was a real life situation where the World Wrestling Federation had a logo dispute with the World Wildlife Fund, right? So during that phase where they transitioned to World Wrestling Entertainment is where they started to open up more about, oh, this is a performance and this is sports entertainment. And then it became maybe more PG at the time. And then there was an era, maybe more recently in the last 10 years, known as like the PG era, which was very kid friendly. And then now what's so interesting in the last 2 years is it's more of a renaissance kind of back to a little bit of those elements.
So let me ask you this. A lot of the, I would say probably a lot of the fans now are primarily your age. That are, is it just nostalgic at this point? Like what makes you still a fan?
I think so. The reason why so many new people are getting into it and why like I actually like it more now than I ever did is that the storylines are really, really good. And basically what they've done is they've Marvel-fied and like kind of like superhero-fied what the product is, and they've got these great storylines that people are tuning into, and that it's the same way that when somebody goes to a Marvel film, they're like, I wonder what's going to happen with Captain America, and then all of the change with Captain America, the Civil War, all of that stuff. They're currently doing something similar with WWE, which has made it very entertaining. And so even if it's things that like people have seen in the like on TV, all of the other areas, I think seeing it in an actual like live format like this. On a constant basis has made it like just so much fun. So the storylines have really, it's like better than a lot of TV shows, honestly.
And it spills into social media, so it's kind of crazy when like you bring up Captain America. Like imagine if the Avengers is actually happening and Captain America is tweeting and posting his like stories while he's doing that. You know, like it's kind of crazy how they've intertwined with real life in a way. But
So how do they like? Because there's so many characters, it's impossible for me to get into it now. Basically, like if I were just dropped in, I would have to like do so much research, right?
I'll answer parts of that. I mean, like the most popular people right now, you know, it's gonna be Roman Reigns. There's Cody Rhodes, John Cena's back, The Rock is back, and
They're all back. I feel like every year they come back.
So it's like they're always feeding into the nostalgia aspect,
Yeah.
and they're also always using that to bring up new talent.
Sure.
And I think where you would find how to kind of get involved now, the way I tell people is just like really you just pick one character that you like you just start watching a match.
How do I know if I like them?
They'll tell you.
Phil, what's like a thing that you like? Do you like plumbers? Do you like cops? Do you like
name one thing that you like.
firefighters? Do you like
Well, that's the thing. Is it still that?
like cooks?
Is it still that themey?
There's elements of that.
Yeah.
So like just give us a thing that you
Okay,
like.
okay. I'm in the food and beverage industry. I want someone that is like a chef.
I don't think
Is there a
any
chef?
chefs
So there's
right
not
now.
a chef character,
Yeah.
but there's characters that can cook. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The sponsor of today's video is Squarespace. Squarespace has been essential in building out our online presence over the years. Being a production company, it's important for us to be able to showcase our videos in one place. With Squarespace, it's easier than ever to show off your video content. You can upload and organize all your content into stunning video libraries. You can even choose to monetize your content, which is perfect for online courses and other premium content. Also, Squarespace helps you get more easily discovered with the help of their integrated SEO tools. All sites on Squarespace are optimized to show up more often on search engines and help you get discovered by the right people. And if you're looking for ways to connect more with your community, you can now fundraise directly through Squarespace with the built-in donation tools. You can build a professional website that makes it easy to accept one-time contributions or recurring donations for your cause. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/wongfu to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now let's get back to the video.
Okay, maybe I'm too pragmatic, and I'm like I'm bringing my adult like mind into it, and even as like an operator in real sports. I know that statement might offend some wrestling
Let's say
fans.
nonfiction.
In
We give it to Phil. We give it to
sto-
Phil.
sports, the merit and performance truly dictates who becomes the LeBron James or whatever, right? What I mean is like, who decided that Roman was going to be the guy? Did he start as a very small character, and then the organization was noticing, oh, this guy gets a lot of people riled up and a lot of people like him, so they decided to write him more and more and more.
I think that's
is he in any type of control of his destiny? Like if I'm a basketball player, if I can train harder on the off season, I can work my way up the roster or get more minutes, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm also trying to come up in the game, right? And I get a fight with Roman and I get the script. Of course Roman has to win. He's the star. I would be like, well, what about like, that's not fair to me. What can I do to make sure that I can win next time or get more famous?
Okay, this is where it maybe goes into the film and TV world. That if Roman thinks you were a good sparring partner and you like did well with him and you could like work well with him, he's probably going to be putting in the kind word behind the scenes to be like, hey, this person works really well, because again, it's a dance thing. It's like you're literally
It's a ballet.
It's a ballet, and if your ballet partner isn't putting in the same amount of energy, that makes you look bad, and you don't want that person is making their ranks up the hill.
Are there scouts of the WWE that's going out and like looking at these smaller?
So there's leagues
I'm
that
gonna make
are
a star out of you.
yeah, there's ones that are directly tied to WWE, or there's a lot of independent circuits all around the country,
Because
all
think
around
about
the
this.
world.
There's only so many spots, right?
Right.
Look at even the NBA league. There's more spots to get into the NBA than there probably is in pro wrestling, right? Like, are there like camps out there for like kids to just be like, I want to be a wrestler someday, and there's people that are already developing this talent like at a young age, like gymnastics?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's actually why wrestling is taking off right now, because of the recent changes with like the NCAA and whatnot. So a lot of sports that go through the college system, there's not really a future beyond it, right?
Right.
But now the WWE is attracting a lot of these essentially pro level athletes. Like I was an Olympic pole vaulter or something like that, right? And they're
I didn't know
attracting
that.
that talent to come into the WWE because they already have this natural athletic ability. Now you just add the storytelling element to it, and then they become a star.
Phil, let's make you a wrestling character right now.
Yeah.
So let's start off with like, do you want it to be like chef related?
No, this is his origin story. Okay, so he's catering an event for WWE. He's backstage.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You see?
I see this.
Okay,
yeah.
that's a
good entry point.
Plenty
into
of
why-
backstage.
That's why Phil would be
interaction.
there. I get that. Okay.
So let's say two wrestlers. They're just going at it, and it's a no holds barred match. So the match goes backstage. It's completely legal.
Where Phil would
Pins
be.
are legal anywhere.
Yeah.
Phil's there. He's just handing boba to the cast, to the crew. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you for having me. Boom! They smash your table. All the boba goes flying. You're mad. You know you
Phil
lose
gets
out.
involved
Yeah.
with the match.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
cost somebody a title match.
Yeah.
And so now Phil's like, well, now I want to get myself involved in this. And now Phil is now in the title picture
Yeah.
for whatever this thing is.
I already got a
Yeah.
finishing move. You know, you brought up Asian wrestlers, so let's bring up Tajiri. One of his finishing moves is spitting green mist at somebody's eyes.
Yeah.
So what you
green
do
mist,
is
yeah.
you just boba in the mouth. Okay, you're probably about to lose at this point, but then boom, boba in the eyes.
Or well, was it the manhunt or the
Mankind?
Mankind with the sock? I choke him with with just boba.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also, okay, so those are two like potential finishers.
Right, yeah.
Another finisher is that like you do a cannonball off the top rope,
Sure.
like a boba ball, and then
Oh,
like it's
okay.
the splash.
Yeah. Boba dunk.
Yeah. And then that's Phil's. So
And
those are
your-
three finishers
And
for
your
Phil.
catchphrase is toppings are extra. Boom.
Whoa, wait, no, done. All right, that's.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know how this was going to go, but I'm really excited about this really offensive wrestler that we created for Phil.
And it starts offensive. It has to start offensive because then you can have redemption and bring out the humanism.
So
okay,
that's the end. Actually, that's a good point. That's the entry point for people to get to know you.
Okay.
And now they get to know Phil as the person, the wrestler.
Okay, even just you guys pointing out how you would want to see the story and like your ideal, it's kind of illuminating to me like
Yeah.
what you guys like about.
It's Hollywood, baby.
No,
It's show
but it's like
business.
because it's also like you want you like the destruction. So you like the destruction element of it. That's definitely baked into it because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, the finishing move is going to be this. Like, so you do like the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the
The action.
Okay.
I also call it action.
And then the humanity element, like it's like these people are vessels for lessons and stories,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And I'm just trying to think, is there any other? There's no other medium for that to exist other than real sports, where you don't really have control over what a certain character does. So like you really could create real life superheroes.
yes. And that's what people.
This is the closest thing to real life superheroes.
People get really invested in those storylines. Yes.
Okay, so would you say that generally speaking, it is teaching good things to kids?
I
Or
think
to
so.
people?
I think so.
I 100% think so. I think that nowadays pro wrestling definitely has the moral edge of like, this is a good guy, this
Yeah.
is a bad guy. Pro wrestling is the easiest way because it's literally, you have to like cheer for somebody and you got to boo for somebody.
Right.
And it's a clear distinction between good and evil.
And you'll know immediately when they enter. Like before any of the wrestling starts, you'll know exactly who's the good guy and who's the bad guy with no context.
What do the bad guys usually make them bad?
Usually it's they screw over a friend.
So it's like it is a moral
So
thing.
yeah, so here's the moral thing. Yeah, they screw over a friend, they turn on a teammate, or they come out,
Cheating,
they cheat.
cheap
Oh yeah,
shots.
cheap shots.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that.
They'll antagonize the crowd.
And the
Yeah.
fans really do like see that, and they don't see the irony in it. They say like, oh, that's a bad thing. Boo that wrestler.
Okay, so this is what's different about where it is different from sports. Because are you telling me that in wrestling, everyone is aligned on bad guy and good guy?
Yes,
That's-
it's
to
moving.
start with.
Yeah, to start with.
That's
It's
pretty-
moving more into like gray area. but-
Because I would say that is like one of the most divisive things about sports is that you really do have my good guy's my good guy, your good guy's your good guy. Because it's obviously your home team, right? And it would be different if it was clearly like if we're all united over clearly bad people and bad things and good people, good things, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
That's
that
why
would be a-
wrestling
that
is
would be
so
a great
great.
thing.
And wrestling provides that.
Yes.
The same way, well, I mean, because I was going to say even in superhero movies, the bad guys, sometimes people are debating, hey, was Thanos actually that wrong?
Yeah. And that's what's kind of fun because there are bad guys now. Like The Rock's character, people love to see The Rock come out. And they're like, they know that he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy now?
Yeah, he's like a corporate villain kind of bad guy.
Oh, no. What
And so, but people can boo him, they can cheer for him. It's kind of like a gray area.
Okay.
thing like that, which
but,
is really
but those
really
are like the
fun.
legacy. But like
Yeah.
the current storylines, it's very clear everyone will
It's
boo.
generally clear, yeah.
Okay.
I'll say like what's so great about wrestling is that the audience is a character in itself. Like when you are
you're
a
playing-
fan
you're
of
playing
wrestling,
along.
when you're
Yeah.
the audience member, you are.
Yeah, I can
you know,
see
it's
that.
like when you go to a play or you watch
Yeah.
a stage show. It's like you're
And ideally, if you're there, you are bought in. So therefore,
Right.
you're trying to have a good time. All right. So this is the WrestleMania is coming up. We can. What's the main Super Bowl event? Because it's multiple events, right? Who's the matchup?
All right, I'm gonna try to explain the John Cena lore in 45 seconds. I don't have a great gauge of time, but you'll keep me honest. So John Cena is the face of the company for like over a decade in the PG era. He was like a superhero to a lot of kids.
Yeah.
He took a break similar to The Rock, where he went and ventured into Hollywood. So now he's back. There was a lot of kind of hate towards John Cena because he was the face for so long that a lot of the older audience didn't really latch onto that. So now that he's back, he did what's called a heel turn, which he was a good guy. Now he's a bad guy because he assaulted the champion, Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes is another generational star, a younger kind of like kind of ready to take the reins and be the face of the company. So this is a kind of like a send-off match to end John Cena's career formally and bring up Cody Rhodes as the new face of the company.
So you're saying, is it already decided?
That was pretty good.
Very
Is that
good.
good? Yeah. Okay.
I realize now at the end of the conversation that if you want to have a conversation about wrestling, you gotta already have to also be buying into the character of the audience, and I didn't do that. So I appreciate you guys coming out of into my reality. I mean, guys, like I'm not here to yuck your yum. Like I think I respect all the athletes to and I feel like they should be treated well and treated like the stars that they are, and
WrestleMania again is just a couple days away, so we'll see if our predictions come true.
Thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for,
guys.
enlightening me.
Thank you, Dan. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode of The Break Room.
There's no toppings with that.
Is that what it was?
Toppings are extra.
Toppings are extra.